Now that we have a working command line tool in Click, let's go through and test this out. So how do we do this? The first thing that I would do is build a test file. So I'm going to go ahead and touch that, and we'll call this test hello.py. And then I'll go to this file browser here and look at this file. So what are we going to put in here? The first thing that I would do is say from click.testing import CLI runner. And what this does is allows me to actually invoke the tool to make sure that it does what I expect it to do. The other thing I'll need to do is also import that command line tool itself. So I'll say from hello import hello. Great. And the next thing I'll do is build a test case. So this test case here will say test hello. There we go. And I'll make an instance of the test runner. So we'll say runner is equal to CLI runner. I'll also invoke it. So we'll say results is equal to runner.invoke. And inside of this, I'll put in the name of the library that I import, plus some parameters. So we know that it takes, for example, the name flag. So I'll go ahead and put that as a space in here, and we'll call this Thor. And we can just test that out and make sure that it works with Thor. Although we do know that it wants a color as well. So I should probably put that in as well. So we'll go ahead and say color, and maybe move this to the next line here to make it easier to read. And then put in blue. And we know it won't return blue as well. And so what we can say is asserts that Thor is in the result.output. So what does this do in a nutshell? This makes sure that when I invoke it, that it'll come back and it'll still say Thor in the output. And so I can test the basic contract of my code. Let's maybe make this a little bit bigger here. You can see it all in one go. So how do I now test this? I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go back to my makefile, and I'm going to build a makefile command that'll make it a little bit more nifty to test my code. And so what I typically do is invoke the PyTest tool here in a test stanza. So go here, I'll say test, do that, and then what I'll do is I'll just put the actual command. So we'll say test hello.py. And what's nice about this is then I don't have to mess around with doing anything from the command line and remembering these exact flags. So I'll go ahead and say make test here, and if we get lucky, it'll work. There we go. And you can see that, maybe make this a little bit bigger, that it was able to successfully try to invoke our command, but it does appear to be hanging. And so one of the things that we may want to do is clean that up. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that test, go ahead and kill it, and take a look for this and see what's actually happening. We know that I didn't invoke it as a -- color command, so it's prompting. So this is a good test, actually. It showed us that things were hanging here. Let's go ahead and fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this screen. Okay, let's run it again. Great, so we know that passed. So what else we can do here is also verify that it'll fail intentionally. And this is something I always do when I test my automation code. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to change the word Thor, because we know that gets printed out with Bob. And I'm going to make sure that this doesn't work. If this still works, then the test is ineffective. Okay, great. It doesn't work because it asserted that the word Bob does not appear in this outcome here. So great. We know that this is a successful test, and it is actually doing some good verification of our tool. So I'll change it back, run it again, and I know everything is good to go. So the main takeaway here is that by adding tests, we can further enhance and use that concept of Kaizen to improve our code constantly, and it's also ready to integrate with a build server.